It's Playing Off the City, your sports news every Friday.
Welcome to Playing Off the City. Thanks for tuning in on the second Friday of November. It's your host, Jake.
And Bakari, and today we'll be covering your favorite stories from the NFL, NBA, college football, and soccer. We've got it all for you tonight.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Playing Off the City. Jumping right into our first topic, we have a football matchup on Sunday. The Lions at 3-5 taking on the Washington football team at 2-6.
Man, that game's gonna be sad. I mean, both teams are really bad this year. I mean, both teams have been bad for a while, to be honest, but it's just another chapter, I guess, in both of our histories. I mean, hopefully we can win this game. Both teams don't look, amazing, but hey, I got the Lions, Gotta support my boys.
Yeah. Not the two most talented teams in the league. I think we can definitely all agree on that. But I think the Lions will come out with the win this week. And I think it's a big turning point for the Lions because our record at 3-5, we're not too far from the playoffs, but we're still not. We still gotta basically win out to be in the picture, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we need a win. Well, we got 3 wins right now, so go ahead.
Yeah, especially games like that, like when you're playing a bad team like the Washington, 2-6.
Not like we're much better, but
I know. I'm just saying, if you want to make it to the playoffs, you gotta win these games.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You gotta take the easy ones. So
gotta take them as they come. I mean, there's 6 games left in the season or something, or 7.
It's a 16-game season.
Yeah,
and we're in week 10, so we already had our bye. So we have 6 or 7 around.
Yeah, so we have to basically win out to even have a chance. Or at the minimum lose one more game.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be for the playoffs for us. It won't be an easy road, and then it's not like we'll get a good draft pick because we're still decent. So if we want to make it to the playoffs, we're basically gonna have to win out. But I was gonna ask you, what's your thoughts on the NFC East? They've had a rough year this year.
I mean, I feel like they always have a rough year, to be honest. I mean, usually if the Cowboys and Eagles aren't performing well, then the rest of that conference isn't performing well. At least that's what the trend's been the last few years. So it's funny to watch because one of those teams has to make the playoffs. So
yeah.
It's gonna look so weird when you're gonna have all these teams with great records and all that going to the playoffs, and then you're gonna have the Eagles, who are 3-4-1,
3-4-1,
going to the playoffs. It kind of feels undeserved, but I mean, I guess that's how it works.
Yeah, that's just how it works. But they've had a rough year, especially with Dak breaking his ankle, and then they had Andy Dalton getting hurt, so that whole division's just been going through a rough patch. But
yeah, that whole division is
whatever team makes it to the playoffs, it's not gonna go well for them.
Oh yeah, I don't really see them putting up much of a fight against any team. It's gonna be quite embarrassing if you ask me. But what are your predictions for the game on Sunday?
On the score you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take the Lions, and I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. I'll say 21-10.
All right. That's not bad.
Whoa.
That's not bad.
What about you? What do you think?
I'm saying a little bit of Matt Stafford magic. So I'm saying we put up 24, so 3 more 24 points than you. But they scored 14. They scored 2 touchdowns. Yeah, so that's 24-14.
Definitely a possibility.
Hopefully, for once, our predictions are right. Just saying.
It's hard to get the numbers. It's a little easier to get the team that wins, but
yeah, it's a 50-50.
When you put a number on it, I'm always it's all luck.
Yeah, it's just if it happens, it happens.
Exactly. All right, and so moving on to our next topic. Last week we had the Saints taking on the Bucks, and didn't go well for the Buccaneers. I'm pretty sure the score was 38-3.
Yep.
Not what you're used to seeing from Tampa Bay. They've been playing pretty well the last few weeks. So what do you think happened?
Shoot, I couldn't even tell you. That was really embarrassing. Like, I didn't really. I wanted to watch the game. I wanted to tune in like at halftime or something to like just see if it was a good game, to see how close it was, because I heard everyone talking about it. And then I went on my phone and it was like 31-3 or something, or like 28-3 at halftime. I was like, yo, what's going on? What happened to my boy Tom? Like,
Yeah, he was struggling. He had a rough night. I'm pretty sure he had 3 interceptions, and
yep.
as a veteran quarterback, you just can't be doing that. 3 giveaways to the other team. I think they scored off one of them.
Yeah,
right? It was
one of his worst games, to be honest. Probably in his whole career. He doesn't really have many off nights, but Sunday was one.
No, usually he's on his game, but something just wasn't clicking. I don't know. Did you see Antonio Brown do anything significant or not really? I'm pretty sure that was his debut.
Yeah, it was, I believe. I don't know. I didn't watch the game, though, so I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't seem like the Buccaneers was playing particularly well, but teams have their down weeks, so.
Yeah, they still bounce back. I mean,
oh yeah,
tough group of guys. So
yeah, I think they've surprised many people, so I don't think they're done yet. But they gotta prove that they can beat their division rival. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hopefully they can, and hopefully they're able to come back this week. All right, up next in our next story, it's the NFC West matchup: Seahawks versus Rams. The Seahawks are currently 6-2. Rams are 5-3. Who you got winning this game?
I'm gonna take the Seahawks. You know, I'm not too familiar with the Rams. They've been in the past years. They've been decent, but I think like if you just look at the quarterbacks, I think Russell Wilson's way better than Goff. So I think that's what's gonna put the Seahawks ahead of the Rams, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And I mean, the Rams, like, let's not forget, like 2-3 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Now all of a sudden, I mean, they're playing pretty good this year, but no, they're not playing as good as they once did. But nonetheless,
nowhere near that Super Bowl caliber, but still playing like respectable.
Yeah, definitely. So I think they'll be able to give a competition. I'm gonna have to go with the Seahawks as well. I think they're gonna come out. That's a dominant offense over there. So I'm saying like 31-17.
Oh yeah, I could see that. If I had to put a number on it, I think I'd go 34-24. I think it's gonna be pretty close. But I think another factor for the Seahawks, for them to win this game, I think they're gonna need to. Their wide receivers are going to need to play well, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes Tyler Lockett's a little inconsistent, and DK Metcalf, he's young, so sometimes he'll have an off game, which it's normal, but they're going to need to punctuate on their play tonight.
For sure. And, you know, actually, I was going to ask you, like, do you think people are already counting out Russell Wilson out of the MVP talks too early? Because I was on social media this past week after that game against the Bills last week where they lost 44-34. And a lot of people were saying, oh, yeah, he's not an MVP. Like, they were already counting him out because before they had him, like, number 1, number 2. Now he was, like, down at 3-4. And I'm just like, come on, man. You can't do that to him. Like, he's been playing great, and they have, like, Patrick Mahomes ahead of him. Like, I'm not saying he's not fantastic, but he's been, in my opinion, not nowhere, but he hasn't been near as good as Russell Wilson has been this year.
Yeah, no, I think Russell Wilson isn't getting the credit he deserves.
Yeah, put some respect on that man's name.
He's been a great quarterback this year, so I think he's, in my MVP race, he's still up there. But there's so many good candidates this year with Mahomes and Wilson and even Tom Brady, which might be more of a long shot. But, yeah, Josh Allen. I think it also didn't help that they lost to the Bills, which kind of, like, MVP matchup of, like, the candidates.
Yeah.
So people might be favoring Josh Allen more now. But I don't think one week defines the whole season, because overall, I think Russell Wilson's had one of the most complete seasons as a quarterback.
Definitely.
Alrighty, and so that'll wrap it up for our football segment. And coming up after the break, we're going to talk NBA.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the break. We're back with the latest in basketball, the Pistons draft situation, and the NBA moving forward.
First, we're going to be talking about the Pistons draft situation. It's a unique situation because right now we're at pick number 7, I believe, right?
Yep. Less than a week to go.
Less than a week to go in the draft, and there will be some solid choices at that pick. You know, you can still get a decent player, but I've heard rumors spreading that we might want to move up to number 1 and take LaMelo Ball. So a lot's still up in the air right now. What's your thoughts?
I mean, if we trade up, will we trade him? Like, what do you think?
What do we?
If
I had to guess, so if we're going to 1, we're talking about the Timberwolves, right?
Yeah.
So what they'd probably want our 7, so pick swap, and then they'd probably want a young guy. I'd guess either Kennard or Christian Wood. Because although Blake Griffin's more talented than those guys right now, I don't think the Timberwolves are going to want to take on a contract that big right now.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I could see a possible package of maybe a first and a future second and maybe Luke Kennard for the number 1. And then they give us one of their bench players. But I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'd like LaMelo, but I don't want to give up too much at the same time.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Giving up too much is a little bit... It wouldn't be a good idea considering we're in a rebuild right now.
Yeah, we want to keep our assets. We want to stay young, too. Last thing we want to do is get a bunch of old guys. We want to rebuild from the ground up.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the smartest thing. Like, we gotta go about this smart. You know, we're not necessarily as big of a market as we once were. So we gotta make sure we pick the right players and move forward like smartly and don't start throwing stupid contracts at people. So, and also making sure we keep that core youth that's been together for a while, because eventually they'll start playing well.
Yeah, we definitely, being like we're probably not a small market, we're probably like a mid-sized market. Yeah. But we need to cash in on the draft still because we're not going to get huge free agents. So we're definitely going to have to rebuild through the draft. So just watch out as a Pistons fan for a draft night move, or maybe a few days before something.
Yeah, maybe this weekend or sometime at the start of next week we'll hear something.
Yeah, who knows?
It really could come in.
Is there anyone you'd like to see at 7 that we pick, or do you not have any preferences?
I don't necessarily have a specific player, but I would definitely like a point guard. Yeah, you're probably gonna say that.
I was gonna say a point guard. Yeah, I agree.
A playmaker, somebody that can, help out some of the guys over here, and just be a bucket.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's what we need, like, as our team right now. We need a point guard. We have Derrick Rose, but he's getting older, and he only has 1 more year left on his contract, so he's probably out after this year.
And that's if we don't trade him for something.
Yeah, I think that's the whole. As for, like, our young core, we have a pretty good scorer, Luke Kennard. We have a pretty good big man, Christian Wood, so we kind of just need a playmaker. Sekou, yeah. We need someone to kind of bring it all together, so I'd like to see a point guard get drafted.
Yeah, and if later in the draft we can get, like, maybe a shooting guard or something, that'd be pretty nice, too. Like, it was like a little 1-2.
Oh, yeah. So we'll just have to watch and see how that plays out, but the NBA has proposed a 72-game season that will begin that will begin in December. What do you think?
Obviously, as a fan, I'm excited. The last NBA season just ended like about a month ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But, considering also like the players and their health, I don't think it's a good idea. I was reading somewhere actually that the teams that haven't played since March were going to have 285 days off at the start of the season. Like on December 2nd, they'd have 285 days off, opposed to the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers, who would have only had 71 days off.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
That's ridiculous.
That's a lot of time to rest. Like you said, from a fan standpoint, I love to see more basketball starting December 1st. But if we're going to look at it logically, it really doesn't. It kind of seems like they're rushing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to meet that threshold of like 72 games so they can make that money.
Yeah, I think that's, unfortunately, one of the biggest factors is trying to keep up that revenue, because sometimes the league overlooks the health of the players. But the good thing about it is that they have an NBA Players Association, so they'll still have to like agree on the plan. So who knows what they'll work into there. Yeah. So at least they're having representation. They're not just like being forced to play.
Yeah. And then
even
also,
though it might.
Oh, go ahead.
You can go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, free agency begins next Friday. The draft is this upcoming Wednesday, just for people to know to watch out for. So that's a lot of it's rush. You can tell it's rush because so many things are happening in such a small period of time. And then right after that, they want us to go to training camps, and right after that, preseason, and after preseason, the season. It's like this is all happening within what 31 days, 32 days. That's a lot of stuff.
It's I don't know if it's the greatest idea. It does seem like we were saying they're rushing it, but I don't know. It's the league agreed on it, so they're just gonna go full steam ahead. And like you said, usually it's not like that. Usually you have like a break between the draft and the free agency, like a week or something.
Yeah, and then you have a lot of time for the young guys to really develop in the summer league, get to showcase their talents and stuff.
Yeah, no summer league this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be different, but hey, I'm glad to see basketball as a fan, so I always love to see that.
Yeah, not complaining.
Alrighty, and so that wraps it up for our NBA segment. After the break, we're going to switch over to college football. We got some Big Ten games that we're going to look at, and then we're going to talk about some news with Clemson and Trevor Lawrence.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert.
Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Okay, welcome back from the break. Right now we're talking about college football. We're starting in the Big Ten. We have Wisconsin at 1-0 taking on Michigan at the Big House 1-2. What's your thoughts for this game?
I think Wisconsin's gonna win, being honest.
Oh yeah.
Michigan gave us a little bit of hope in week 1 that this season might be different, and these last 2 weeks have proceeded to just get destroyed by two teams that they simply should be destroying at the level we thought they were at, but it turns out that they are at a much lower level. Now they're unranked. They went from like top 15 to unranked in 2 weeks. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, as a Michigan football fan, they gave me too much false hope, man. After that week 1 win, I was very excited for the season, and then
time to move
drop
over
the
to
game
basketball.
to Michigan State, and then sheesh, you lose to Indiana that bad. It's kind of embarrassing, and it makes you, as a Michigan fan, wonder what the head coaching situation is going to look like, because the front office obviously can't be happy if you're dropping 2 out of your first 3 games with the talent we have. So what do you think about Jim Harbaugh?
Man, I think his time is running down. I mean, he's one of the most paid coaches in college for a reason. They brought him there for a reason. They had a goal. They wanted to win. They wanted to win big championships, like the biggest one. So, and he hasn't really brought them close. I mean, especially this year, they're definitely not going to be in the top 10. So at least not unless they started beating like Ohio State, which is slim to none. So
yeah. I doubt that.
If it's me, I'm just looking at him like, I don't know. My patience is really running thin with him because he's had a long time to really establish himself. And I mean, he does great against everybody else, but when it comes to those teams that he needs to win against, it seems as though he really struggles to do so.
Yeah, it seems like Michigan's given him a few too many chances. We've really been patient with him, but I think the record right now is either 1-6 or 1-7 against your rivals. Like, that stat's just not what you want to hear as a head coach. Like, as much as it's nice to win other like conference games, you need to beat your rivals, like definitely, more than once.
Yeah, you can't just beat them like once every 3 years and expect to do something. I mean, you play these guys you play your rivals 2 or 3 of them every single year.
Yeah, and that's what brings pride to a college if you beat your rival. So I don't know. I think his time is running low, like you said. We'll just have to. But the only thing is, like, who would replace him? That's just another thing you gotta think about, because as much as he hasn't had the greatest showing the last few years, it's not like there's an abundance of great college coaches. So he's gonna have to monitor the situation.
Yeah, it's a really tough situation. It's gonna be interesting to see how it all turns out.
Yeah.
And then switching topics to Michigan State. They're coming up against Indiana. Michigan State's 1-2. Indiana's 3-0. Another Big Ten matchup.
This game, I think it's gonna be another blowout. Michigan State just dropped their last game to Iowa, 49-7, which isn't what you wanna.
Hey, the only win that matters to them is against Michigan. They can go like 1-8. They don't care.
They took home the Paul Bunyan, so that's really what matters for them. But Indiana's been on a hot streak too. They're at number 10 in the AP top 25. So I definitely see them taking this game by a big margin. Yeah,
me too. I think they're gonna win this game by probably somewhere in the 40s, maybe even 50s, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Well, we'll just see how. It'll be interesting to see how Mel Tucker handles it. First year coach. So is he gonna fight back, or is he kind of just gonna give up? I couldn't see him giving up. Most coaches don't, but it'll kind of like test his character.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just matters what we'll see this week, what type of Michigan State we'll see this week, and what they're willing to show.
Definitely, I'd agree. All right, and so our last topic for college football, we have Clemson dropping to number 4 in the AP 25 after a double overtime loss to Notre Dame.
Yeah, man. I mean, we can't really sit here and judge Clemson, in my opinion. Obviously, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But these guys lost without their best player.
And they had a lot of injuries against Notre Dame. Like, watching them introduce the lineups, like, on offense and defense, you had so many freshmen playing on the line. Like, that's crazy. Freshmen don't ever play in the line, so...
Especially in a game like that.
They were definitely, like, overmatched just due to injuries, but... They still fought. I mean, double OT, to force it to double OT, I don't think anyone really saw that coming. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw the crowds afterwards, but...
Oh, yeah.
Sigh.
Yeah. In the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know that
they was having a little too much fun.
That rushing the field was the best idea, but they were just happy to get a win. It's kind of understandable. It's not the smartest thing to do, but you can't really blame them.
Yeah, college kids are going to be college kids.
Exactly. All right. Well, that wraps it up for college football. We'll be right back with our final segment.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back here on our final segment of Playing Off the City. We're going to be switching topics over to soccer now. There's not too much going on in soccer right now. Most of the players have went on international breaks to represent their countries, to go qualify for international tournaments this summer, next summer, World Cup 22. So not too much going on there, but it's pretty interesting. I did hear just now as we were recording actually that Mo Salah came down with COVID, so hopefully he gets better. That's a big blow to Liverpool actually. Speaking of Liverpool's not looking too hot. They're getting a lot of injuries right now and people on their team getting sick. So hopefully by the time that they come back from international break, which should be this week, I believe, actually, like this upcoming week, they're able to at least have a few players back. I know that both of their starting center backs are now out because Joe Gomez got injured recently. Virgil van Dijk's pretty much out for the season. Trent Alexander-Arnold was injured. It's just the injuries are really piling up for some of these big dogs. Like Real Madrid also, a lot of their guys are injured this week, have been injured these last few weeks, and they're going to be missing a few weeks in action. And it's not looking too good for them, especially after that 4-1 loss to Valencia. So it's going to be really interesting to see how most of these teams come back. I just think that this whole pandemic has really messed up sports in general, not just soccer, in terms of all of these teams, all of these organizations are putting so much pressure on these players to play. They don't even consider the health of these guys, when it comes to playing. They're just all right, go play. But in reality, when you look at it, most of these guys, they're getting forced to play. Imagine you're a little bit older, you're maybe early 30s, and you're getting forced to play 90 minutes 3 times a week, basically. You got a game on Sunday, then you got a game on Wednesday, then a game on Sunday. That's 270 minutes of high intensity sports in 1 week.
It's definitely not easy, yeah.
Yeah, and that's in all sports.
The pandemic has not made things easy for sports, but you still got to applaud the leagues for still putting something on, giving it their best shot, and still trying to protect their players at the same time. Not really, as much as it's a risk for the players, it's not, a huge risk,
Yeah, actually, I saw a soccer player, Tony Cruz. He said that, he's kind of an honest dude. He just said that he doesn't really like the way that they're handling it, and that he feels like they're being puppets and stuff and just being told what to do. So, some players don't necessarily agree. Yeah, he said that yesterday.
What is he talking about? A certain league? Because he's from
he's
Germany,
just talking
right?
Yeah.
Or is he just talking about soccer in general, right now?
I think he's just talking about in general. He's talking about UEFA and all the other
Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League, just the league, all the league commissioners combined. Because I just don't think he really likes that. The way they're being forced. He's pretty old. He's not old, but he's getting up there in age for his soccer career. And, it's not easy asking all these guys, even young people, honestly, because, muscles, they're a fragile thing. And you're asking these guys to really just put it all out there every single day. And, high intensity sports, 3 times a week. That's a lot.
Yeah. No, it's not the easiest right now in the pandemic, but you got to applaud them for still putting out the effort, and you can't get mad at the players who are deciding to opt out. It's their choice. If they think it's best, if they think it's best for their safety, you can't say anything. It's just a weird time for everything, so you got to be understanding. But hopefully, hopefully something gets figured out soon.
Yeah, hopefully in all sports, and hopefully we can go back to enjoying club soccer in the next week or 2.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
To that. Yes, sir. Alrighty, and I think that just about does it. So we covered a lot today. If you're still here at the end, thanks for sticking with us. My name's Jacob.
My name's Bakari.
And this is 89.1 FM, the Exile Radio.
Thanks for watching.